From the city lights to the country blue, Woody and Lew got the sports for you. From Boston streets to Kentucky's fields, get ready, folks, for the thrill it yields. Woody and Lew, sports and you, talking games, we love, it's true. Every play, every score, let's dive in, it's time for more. Lacing up the boots and calling plays, debates and laughs for all the days. From Fenway Park to Derby Run, sports talk magic just begun. Woody, Lew, sports and you, sideline stories coming through. Every cheer, heartbeat soar, tune in now, we'll give you more. Celtics screams to Wildcats roar, touchdowns, goals, and so much more. Grab a seat, enjoy the ride, Woody, Lew, right by your side.
The views expressed by the hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Department of Defense, the U.S. government, or any of its agencies. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. No attorney-client relationship is formed by providing this information, and nothing herein should be relied upon as legal counsel. For legal advice specific to your situation, please consult a qualified attorney. Braxton, we are live. Episode 18, Woody, Lew, Sports and You, Galloping On. Happy Sunday, Braxton.
Happy Sunday, Dan. Don't call it a hot streak. We're back here back-to-back Sundays. We're getting dangerous.
We're motivated. And before we get into it, a special announcement. Congratulations to Braxton and producer Kaylee on welcoming brand new baby girl. Braxton, congrats.
Thank you, Dan. We welcomed Gigi into this world on Tuesday. And you know, Kaylee kind of brought this up. Actually, the Mad Hatter brought this up as Kaylee was helping make our graphic for the thumbnail. He's like, do you guys not recognize maternity leave in your organization? And I told him there's no contract laying this out. We have not discussed it.
So the Mad Hatter, in addition to being a top award-winning listener and first-time ever guest, want to be head of HR for Woody, Lew, Sports and You. We don't have that, Mr. Lewis.
I'm scared he does.
But yes, no, Gigi, beautiful baby girl, and now Braxton and producer Kaylee, you guys are outnumbered.
Playing Jim Boeheim, Syracuse zone coverage. Nothing but a 2-3 zone in the house. It's gone well so far. It's really not when you break it down to the lowest level, right? I'm 28 years old. She's 29. We have a 3-year-old, 2-year-old, and a newborn. It's really not that deep for a 28-year-old to take the 3 and 2-year-old places and to do things with them. Like, I'm expected to, the welfare, like I'm in charge of the welfare and well-being and training of hundreds of soldiers. So 2 and 3-year-old, I mean, it shouldn't be that deep.
And sometimes they don't act any better than 2 and 4-year-olds.
No, yeah. So, no, things are going well. The girls have been good. I don't think Gigi knows she's out of the belly. She's just been sleeping. Mm-hmm. She's the type of kid that you have where you're like, hey, I could have another one, because she's not doing anything that's like making you regret any prior decisions. So she's great. Kaylee's great. Team Lewis is doing well.
That's fantastic. And speaking of Team Lewis, we got some action in the chat. Mr. Chris Lewis, the Mad Hatter himself, counselings to follow is the first chirp of the night.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to write it up and do the legal review and make sure that if he's ready to bring action against us, he better come correct.
I feel like it's just an initial 4856 for our HR program. It's gonna be well received.
Yeah, I mean we're super new to this whole thing, and you know, I didn't tell her to do anything. I suggested / asked, and she obliged. So, you know, she needs to bring it up herself. She's her own woman.
Absolutely. We don't pay anyone, so it's all volunteer work.
In the best thing, Dan. So we come home from the hospital on Thursday.
Okay.
Today is
Sunday.
So Friday. Oldest daughter Elliot's not feeling well. Take her to urgent care Friday evening. Her and Ronnie both were kind of under the weather. We get her tested for RSV, COVID, and the flu. She has COVID and an ear infection.
Ooh.
And so we just brought a 2-day-old is at the house, and I asked the doctor. I was like, so, we have a brand new baby, like fresh out the plastic.
Yeah. Freshly unwrapped.
Yeah, like is this whole COVID diagnosis going to impact anything? And she literally just looked at me and was like, no, it's good for her. We'll give her some immunity. Just monitor. And then I was talking to Mom. They were down here today, and just how crazy that is. Because 5 years ago, if you had a newborn baby at home, and first off, the mom didn't get the vaccine while pregnant, that'd be a whole thing. But then you have a baby, you have a young sibling at home test positive, like that doctor would have like forced us to go to a hotel and quarantine, and it would have been a whole thing. And now just like a short 4 to 5 years later, it's like, that's good for him. Don't brush it off.
It's 2025.
Yeah, we're back.
We are back.
We're back.
We are fully back. So, Braxton, before we get into the ticker topics, in leading up to tonight's show and planning, I had mentioned that I had a surprise topic that I wanted to spring on you. So not as exciting as I think you think it's going to be, but I rolled out of bed this morning and I decided to run a half marathon. I did the whiskey run in Nashville, and I got this sweet medal and this really cool whiskey run tasting glass.
Look, is that what you're drinking out of right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
No training. Just got up, ran
you
13.1 miles.
You just raw dogged a half today.
Yep. Time was 2 hours and 32 minutes.
When's the last time you ran?
Well, I did the Army fitness test on Thursday. That didn't go very well.
So
that was only 2 miles.
When's the last time you ran like a regimented plan and like hit over like a 4x36 or anything?
That'd be back in June.
So you're not in running shape at all?
No.
And dude, that's awesome. And the only sanctioned half marathon I did was the St. Louis half marathon, which this is like proper Dan form. You throw this on me last second, so I couldn't also don my medal, which is in the garage. And if Kaylee wasn't preoccupied with a newborn, she would be in the garage finding that for me because it'd be around my neck. It's something about, and I thought I was in pretty good shape, but you get out there with the people in the crowd.
Yes.
And the vibes are just because I remember for St. Louis, and I'm sure thinking of Nashville's terrain, I don't know the route, but a lot of hills. But you're out there with everybody, and it's just you don't even think about it. And then you go back and look at your Garmin or whatever fits your flavor, and you're all the elevation gain. You're I didn't even feel it because you're just with the vibes.
So that was what I want to talk about first was the course. So it was out past East Nashville, Two Rivers, the Two Rivers golf course. I don't know if you know where that is.
Yep.
So that was the wild part. So the course first went through a disc golf course and then an actual golf course. So that was kind of nerve-wracking, where easily at mile 2.5 and then coming back 10, 11, easily could have been hit by an errant golf ball, especially if someone like me was playing.
Course not closed.
What's that?
Course wasn't closed?
Oh, no. Okay, we weren't on the golf course, but it was golf course very.
You were in range. You were in the range.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure.
And then when people were just throwing frisbees too, it was a scene. and it was so hilly.
If I would have gotten hit by a frisbee in the beginning of my half marathon, that would have been enough for me to stop the half marathon.
Just stopped and gone to the car.
It would have made me that mad.
But yeah, it was a tough course. We hit this one hill, massive hill that we hit at like mile 2, and I knew it was going to be an out and back. And I looked over, I was like, this is gonna suck coming back at like mile 11.
You mentioned who were you with?
I was with the other people on the course running.
Oh, this was like you left your apartment and showed up by yourself.
So the reason why I ended up doing it was because I have 2 friends in Nashville, married couple. They signed up together. Unfortunately, one of them he hurt his foot. So it was like beyond like the time that you could like cancel your registration. So they had an open bib and still really wanted to run it, but didn't really want to go like by themselves. So I was sure, I'll do it.
So you just took his bib?
Took his bib, yeah.
Nice, dude.
And his medal.
Oh, he let you keep it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you pay him back, or is it just on the house?
Just on the house.
On the house. That's a pretty good half marathon.
Yeah.
In 2.5 hours without training. So in hindsight, that's a 5-hour marathon pace without training. So like, what if you put in like 2 months of some time on the Cadillac?
Give me 10 weeks. 10 weeks, and I can run a sub-4 marathon.
And what did you do it in 2:34?
Yep.
I kind of want to go do a half marathon now before our next show, because I also am not training for a half marathon, but I feel like I need to, just to see where I'm at.
You should.
And
at one point, we were planning on doing a running competition. Woody Live Sports and you.
It would be Garmin sanctioned. Like I would post the Garmin, the results.
Mm-hmm.
We'll chew on that. Kaylee's like giving me the death stare, so I'm scared that I don't know if I have.
You just have a newborn baby.
Not death scare, but like a concerned look, as if like I don't know if you have 2.5 hours.
There were a number of strollers on the course. That was interesting. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on was there was some elder people in general, but more elder women that were just slow, steady Eddie that were cruising, and I was sucking wind at like mile 10, and they were just going right past me up the hill, and I was like,
Kaylee did the one of the island, Jekyll Island maybe. She did a turtle run they had out there with the double stroller with both girls.
Yeah,
and that was awesome. Since I've been back, and I tried to go on a run with just one of the girls. This was like a couple weeks ago in the morning, because they were awake. One of them was awake, and I was like, I'll take them on my run. And not for the faint of heart, because you're like the pushing, like not using both of your arms.
Sure.
You don't realize how much that kind of takes away. And then the kind of trail that I run here on Fort Stewart, a lot of parks. You cross a lot of parks.
Okay.
So I'm trying to run, and my daughter is seeing these parks.
Trying to jump out.
And even though it's 6:30 in the morning, she really wants to go to the park, and it can really kind of kill the forward momentum of the run when she's trying to cut sling load and find herself.
That's how she's strapped in well. Any jumping out?
But I sent this to a buddy today. I saw a video of a guy who he set the world record for fastest mile with a baby.
Yep.
In like 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Quick.
Which is nuts.
They should have put some parks around the course. See how he does then.
And it was a live baby. It wasn't like a fake baby. It was he had to bring his child as part of the packing list.
I would hope so. If you're gonna get the record, it's got to be like you were a kid.
And he was knocked out, so I don't know. They probably doped that kid up with like Benadryl before. he had a cocktail of Benadryl and Motrin or something.
I would say it's not a real world record unless you're running around Fort Stewart with all those parks as distractions.
I think I might have to do a half marathon.
Yes.
Because you should always, like, as a man, and as I've gotten older with kids, I've started thinking about this, is like, are you challenging yourself enough just to do like that gut check of like, do I still got it? And like running, just like going out and running 13 miles is a pretty good gut check of like, yeah, I still I can do it if I got to. Like I still have
I
that in the
was
back.
I wouldn't have agreed to it if I didn't like an inkling in the back of my mind that like I can. So I knew I had 3.5 hours before I was gonna get kicked off, and I was like, okay, like that's like sub 15 or sorry, that's more than a 15-minute mile. Like I
And
can walk that.
you can ruck march that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I knew I would finish, but I wanted to break 3 hours. And no, it was a very you know, good boost to the ego, confidence, just be able to roll out of bed and run a half marathon.
I remember so clearly, or a lot of marathon talk here, but when I did that one in St. Louis, I went with friends, like me and friends signed up, but we didn't run together. And it was like miles like 4 through like 9. Like there's like a 5 mile stretch where I found this random kid, like a college age kid. And we both had headphones in, but we both kind of just gave each other a nod. And we're like, hey, we're doing this until we can't. And then I think he ended up surpassing me around mile 9. He left, but and the thing is, I don't know how you experienced it. I feel like a lot of people, like when they get towards the end, they get this euphoria where they get like an extra like boost. But for me, I feel like I got to like mile 12 and a half. I had like a half mile left, and that's when my body is just like, yeah, I think I'm about to start shutting down on you. And I was like the dirt bag who, like, when you finish, they give you the medal and they give you like some like fruit and stuff. I was a dirt bag who, like, ate my banana and ate my cupcake and then went back and like double dipped a little bit. I was like,
People are coming across the finish line, go get their cupcake.
yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I will say
Good for you.
yeah, I got the Heartbreak Hill was at like mile 11, and that's when I started to cramp up, and that was not fun. The calves were seizing, but nope, finished it. Got my medal, got my T-shirt, got my tasting glass, got a donut, and I got to sample some whiskey.
Did you hit like Midtown or Broadway after and celebrate?
Went to Von Elrod's in Germantown afterwards.
Big fan of Von Elrod's. But you missed, I heard you missed Von Elrod's trivia on Wednesday night. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately, duty called. And speaking of duty calling, we have from the Mad Hatter has already come up with the mission statement of Woody Lew Sports and You HR. Are you ready for this, Braxton?
Yeah, let's see what he's got.
WSNY HR ensures the organization complies with labor laws, workplace safety, equal opportunity regulations, and employee rights. This prevents lawsuits and penalties.
Yeah, well, thankfully we got in-house counsel. If Kaylee decides to lawyer up, that'd be a heck of a case to take on.
I was pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of conflicting interests.
Was that
good.
ChatGPT or just off the cuff, Mad Hatter?
Yeah, no, that's good. That seemed polished off the cuff there. But he had some marathon talk to come up with that. Now, running through Nashville, and just so full transparency, a little producing behind the scenes. My screen's frozen where I can't see the ticker or any of the comments on YouTube, so apologize for that. But you're in Nashville running your half marathon on a Sunday. So it was today, right? So Sunday.
Yep, this morning.
Nashville is on fire right now with Vanderbilt. And I think it's time, if you haven't done so yet, you need to get like a little ticket package for the rest of these games. Because they're on fire. They had the biggest crowd since like a 2017 game against Kansas State last night. Or Saturday night, yep. So I think it might be time for you to go all in on the Doors.
Yeah, I think so. So let's see. I know they got LSU coming up. Oh, Utah State is next weekend. Yeah, they're ranked 18th.
They're one behind, or one above, or one behind Alabama.
And they play Alabama on the 4th. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Well, ticket package mid-season.
I can tell you this: I'm scared to death for the Vandy Alabama game. I'm assuming it's at Tuscaloosa since they played at Vanderbilt last year. But producer Kaylee, if that game's within a touchdown in the fourth quarter, or really at any point in the game after the first possession, it's going to be a tense household.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened last year. I don't think she's letting that go.
Is there currently like an Alabama wreath on the Lewis family door?
No, she took it down after Florida State lost.
That's right.
And I don't even think I slept a night in the house with that wreath up, because she put the wreath up Labor Day weekend. We immediately left town for Labor Day weekend. I get home and she took it down. So it was very short lived.
Listen to this schedule coming up for Vanderbilt. This is a gauntlet. So they
And if
do
you
have
don't know, if you're listening and you don't know, they're 4-0 right now. So this is the rest of their
yeah.
schedule.
So they got Utah State next weekend. Then they
Okay.
have at Vanderbilt, at home against LSU, at home against Missouri, on the road at Texas, at home against Auburn, at home against Kentucky, then on the road at Tennessee.
After Utah State, you said at home against Vandy. Who are they playing that week?
Sorry. All right. So that's September 27th. October 4th is on the road at Alabama. Then October 18th is at home against LSU. 25th, home against Missouri. November 1st on the road at Texas. November 8th is at home against Auburn. November 22nd at home against Kentucky. November 29th is on the road at Tennessee.
Yeah, they'll go 6-6. That's the ceiling. They're 4-0 right now. They'll go 6-6.
Who are there two? So Utah State and Auburn?
Utah
Kentucky?
State and no, not Kentucky. Utah State and probably Auburn. Auburn. Yeah, they're 6-16. Good for them. They started off, and this is why I can say this, because the last 2 years, Kentucky started this thing where they're playing. Well, actually, we've been doing it for a while, but it was Florida who we'd play week 2, week 3. It's shifted to Ole Miss and South Carolina in recent years, but when we were good, there was a stretch where we were starting the season, 4, 5, 6-0, and that's why it was getting big for the Georgia games. We were playing Georgia week 8, week 9, and we would be 6-1. They would be undefeated, and it'd be a game for the SEC East before they went to the full-on conference. But we'd still end up going 7-5. You know what I'm saying? Because just the way the schedule worked out. So
obviously you start off with non-conference, especially how it was before, the 9-game schedule SEC. But were they always back heavy loaded?
Yeah, but there for a while we were drawing Florida week 2, week 3, and we were pretty much owning Florida when they've been going through a lot of stuff, and we can talk more on them in a little bit. But we were usually winning that game against Florida week 2, week 3, and it really just kind of catapulted us, because the other games we were playing was an FCS school, a MAC school, and then a Vandy or whatever. The schedule was just lining up to where we would have a hot start, and then we would, just like Vandy's going to do, we'd fizzle out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Florida, we'll talk more about the Gators later when we get to our college football roundup. But who they played this week in the University of Miami, got their doors blown off, leads us to our first topic, which is the article, Braxton, that I sent you about the 2006 Brian Peta murder. Did you read that article?
I read the article when you sent it to me. I did not refresh after that, but I did read it when you sent it to me, yes.
All right. So listeners, I saw this pop up on the ESPN app, and it was just the most the craziest headline Miami football player in 2006 was murdered. That they have a suspect. It was a fellow player, but that case has not gone to trial. And there was a witness. He was a writing professor at the University of Miami that lived in the same apartment complex as Brian Peta. And he had since moved out of state, got a different job, had given multiple depositions, interviews. But now that we're coming towards trial, almost 19 years later, the Miami prosecutors, he's dead. He was in his 80s. He was an older gentleman. But that's not true. ESPN and their investigative reporters, they went to the last known address. They knocked on the door, and this so-called dead witness was alive and he's not quite well. His memory is a little shot. He actually doesn't really remember much about the murder. But I just thought that was insane. And as far as like, I mean, our background, like I'm a attorney. You have law enforcement training. Like, how crazy is that?
It's absolutely nuts. And I had several questions.
Sure.
And correct me if I'm like misremembering the article at all. My first question, just from, I mean, this is guess. I mean, I'm sure the DA has fielded this question, but how has it been 20 years and they just haven't put this in the trial yet?
So that like wasn't clear to me in the article. I think there's like some evidentiary issues. It sounds like this witness is like a pretty key witness. So the big deal. Go ahead.
Well, and I'm gonna let you finish, but in saying that, that was what I got hung up on. Is we were 20 years from incident to still no trial, but we're also 20 years to them finding a key witness who they presumed was deceased. So if everything was in the balance for this witness and he was dead, why did them not finding out initially that he was deceased trigger the start of the trial? And then if they were still holding out for something else, how did it take them 20 years to locate this key witness who they thought, like, how were they justifying the pushing of the trial is kind of like what I was confused on.
So it initially in 2006, they didn't make any arrests. They suspected it was Rayshon Jones, another Miami player, but didn't have evidence to make an arrest. So the case kind of went cold. Then it was reopened, and they actually made the arrest in 2021 based on witness statements and new investigative efforts. And they did have so Paul Connor was the name of this so-called dead witness. They did talk to him and they did interview him, so they knew who he was. But at some point, they just like lost track of him when he moved out of state to Kentucky, and they had an address for him, but I guess they only like knocked on the door once, and it's like, oh, he's dead. It's crazy.
I don't get it, man.
And what the big issue is that so as a rule of evidence, if like a witness is unavailable, like due to a death, like you can use like, prior statements. They have like, recorded interviews with him, did like depositions. So there are transcripts of his what would be testimony. And that's like they made a motion before the trial to allow all that in because they thought he was dead.
Right.
However, because he's alive, that's all hearsay and is inadmissible because you need to have that live in court testimony that defense can cross-examine. The problem is he's old and he's apparently some like cognitive he's his memory is not quite all there, and he doesn't really remember what he saw or that this person was dead. So now this causes like a bunch of evidentiary issues, and this case, like the Miami, I'm like, I smell some foul play.
And that's great for the defense and super unfortunate for the subject or the victim.
Yes.
And their prosecution. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it sucks, and it's a good segue. How do I say this? Of course, it's Miami, right? I'm big on just calling it what it is. Of course, it's Miami. It's unfortunate life loss, but
yeah,
of course, it's Miami, and I think Miami might be back.
Yeah,
and it's crazy to see just the shift and balance of college football landscape with Miami here, Miami there. Obviously, hopefully less murders and less felony convictions for their players. But Miami's back, and I know you were watching Big Noon Kickoff and probably missed it, but College Game Day was absolutely an electric factory at Miami, even though they weren't, near the stadium.
That's what that drove me nuts. Like they kept on like cutting back and forth between Hard Rock and that pool that they were poolside at Coral Gables. That That's Bush League.
No, did you see Pat jump into the pool though?
I'm sure he did.
So,
There's not a body of water that man doesn't want to jump into.
I mean, we're kind of going back to last week, but building off that, this was just another example. College game day is kind of rocking. You got Nick Saban's cussing, like not safe for work cuss words. You got guest host feeding off Nick Saban's energy, just throwing out words that you can't typically say. The WWE type promos that Pat is pulling off are electric. He jumped off the highest of high dives into the pool in a Speedo. A lot of gamesmanship. But I will say this. For all of the showmanship, if you will, that Pat's doing, that I am on record of defending and being a fan of, there was a chink in the armor today.
Okay.
And this hurts me to say. So, well documented growing up, the biggest WWE fan.
Mm-hmm.
I probably stopped watching. I watched Monday Night Raw, Thursday Night SmackDown, transitioned to Friday Night SmackDown. My parents, they typically would order me one pay-per-view, like a year or so, that wasn't WrestleMania, but they'd order me WrestleMania every year. And then, typically, I was a big Royal Rumble guy. So, big WWE guy, and I always got upset as a kid. Like, third grade me would be so upset with myself. I always found it weird because, kayfabe was real back then, so I didn't know this was all. I mean, I may have, but I was always upset that there wasn't, a sports center, if you will, for WWE, right? And I'd get on our lone computer, our dial-up computer. I get on WWE.com. I do it at school, I do it at home. So, if there was a pay-per-view on a Sunday night, Monday morning, first thing, I see the results, right? And I lived and died by this. With that being said, obviously ESPN and WWE has struck this deal. They got WrestlePalooza was in Indianapolis, which is just a Pat McAfee wet dream. And the first chink in the armor with Disney, ESPN, just a whole conglomerate. They did picks for the Brock Lesnar John Cena fight. Like, all the panelists picked who would win the Brock Lesnar John Cena fight. And that rubbed me in a way that, like, it really bothered me. And I don't know if it's just me getting old, but, like, it bothered me. And I know, like, if third grade me would have been watching that back in the day,
we would have loved it.
I would have, like, told everyone in the room to shut up. Like, I got to know who they think's going to win this fight. And
who is Saban picking?
Exactly, right? And I don't remember who he picked, but it's getting a little much, and that was the first chink in the armor. But I'm still all in on College Game Day. But I wanted to be a man of my word, and like I'm objective. I'm a journalist at heart. That I thought that was cheesy. I didn't love it.
Yeah, Salt Lake City was fire for Big Noon Kickoff.
Well, what do you think about the Ask Dave segment they're doing with Big Cat and Dave Portnoy?
I could care less for the Barstool stuff.
So that's why I think there's a chink in your armor, Dan, because you can't sit here and say you're a Big Noon Kickoff guy now when objectively, Your Honor, Big Noon's Kickoff has completely shifted their focus to being like the bedrock of Big Noon Kickoff now is Barstool antics.
Yes.
So I'm having a hard time connecting here how you're not anti-Barstool. I think you like what they are collectively in theory, but you're anti-Barstool antics / some of their personalities antics.
Just the Barstool Fox, like, unholy marriage, I'm just not into.
So, but how this year of all years you became a Big Noon Kickoff guy? Like, you're singing its praises.
It was Pat McAfee.
Coincidence or what?
Coincidence.
It's just a coincidence that your sworn nemesis of sports journalism become a bedrock of their show, and now you love the show.
No, they're not my nemesis. I have a weird relationship. I think Jump the Shark McAfee has pushed me to Big Noon Kickoff.
I think that's ridiculous. I think Pat, and here's what I'm saying, and it sounds stupid. Pat McAfee, he has his platform, in my opinion, because he was an NFL punter
Yes.
So that catapulted him to having a name.
Yes.
He has a personality. He catapults that into Barstool. He outkicks his coverage with Barstool.
He was doing WWE too for a while.
He gets picked up for a show. Does WWE, gets parlays that to ESPN, now College Game Day. The guy puts out, and that's what I respect, because I think of it in terms of, and I'm not saying this show is great. You might think I absolutely suck on the show if you've never watched it or don't know me. But I put it in terms of, I watched the Citadel play their game against Mercer, which was a terrible take on our Twitter. I thought they were going to beat them. They lost 38-0. But I turn on their game at 2:00, and like the color commentator and play-by-play guy, they should have thrown you and me up there. Like, we would have had better insight, and with no show prep, better insight.
Kind of like me running marathons. I mean, I can just roll out of bed and be a play-by-play guy.
I would assume we would have viewers more in tune if we were up there. The thing about Pat McAfee, like, and I'm pretty cocky, I can't do what he does. He works a room, and that man has zero shame. I see Mom in the chat said he adjusted his manhood before he jumped in his Speedo. Respect, because that man knew it's better for me to fix my junk than to find myself in a meme situation. That's showmanship. So he sees the full picture.
Yeah, no dump reel on College Game Day.
I just respect it, and I think he's absolutely crushing it. And I wouldn't have said this, 6 months ago, to be honest. I was probably reels of me earlier episodes of me talking junk about Pat McAfee, but he has completely 180'd me.
Well, no, and again, we're beating a dead horse from last episode. I don't dislike Pat McAfee. Like, I like his daily show. I thought what he did with like Barstool was great. His college game day persona is, and maybe this is me just being an old man, but it's like, if he stands up on that desk one more time, I'm gonna lose it.
Okay, and shifting to your big noon kickoff, can I say one thing about Dave Portnoy that I gained a lot of respect for?
Sure.
And this is like, I think you will agree, this is a total Braxton Ball move. Is he sent out a tweet? He's at Utah, and he says, just so you're aware, future big noon kickoff like stops, I'm doing bookstore ratings. So he gave Iowa State a 5.8. He gave Utah like a 9.2. Like, said that Utah's was great. And he followed that up with a tweet saying, I have this problem where anytime I go to a college bookstore, regardless of the college, I get caught up in the hype, and I spend anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on gear that I only wear while I'm there or a short time after, which like me and Dave's like budgets are different, but I'm the exact same way. When we were at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, I went and bought a Missouri S&T hat because I got caught up in the hype. You know what I'm saying?
I can relate too. I mean, when we were at the Citadel, I bought that sweet Bill Belichick like pullover.
Like, I wouldn't do it if it was Louisville or Tennessee. That's where I would draw the line. But I would go as far as to say, like, just to be honest, let's say I went to North Carolina, right? Like UNC Chapel Hill. Obvious Kentucky rival.
Mermaid outfit at the bookstore?
No, not that. Or a lobster. North Carolina is a natural rival of Kentucky in basketball. But one thing about Kentucky fans, if you don't know, is I don't think Kentucky fans hate North Carolina. They hate Duke, but they kind of respect North Carolina. I would go to UNC's bookstore, and I would leave with a hat and a T-shirt at a minimum. So I respected Dave for – it made me feel like we're relatable in a weird sense.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway.
So like the next topic, and we'll get into just a recap. We've already been doing it throughout the show of college football, NFL. But this was another conversation I wanted to have with you. This was really funny, and the way that this came up at work, and the topic is the best NFL quarterbacks that have never won a Super Bowl. So I was at work on Wednesday, and I commute. It's probably 100 miles a day, so an hour each way. And I was just talking to my paralegal, and I was like, "Oh man, it'd be like really awesome is if I had a driver that would drive me to and from work, and I could just sit in the back. So that
Oh,
would be 2 hours of productivity. And then we had the conversation. It's like, do you remember when the Chargers moved to Los Angeles and Philip Rivers and his like 14 kids or whatever he has, he didn't want to move from San Diego because they were all in varying levels of school in their schools in San Diego. So he got this like tricked out like Ford Explorer or like just massive SUV that he would sit in the back and had like two like big TVs, and he had a driver that would drive him from San Diego and LA and back, and he would watch tape and film sessions during his commute. And I was like, that's what I need.
Genius.
Go ahead.
Genius.
Yeah. So then we started having this conversation about like like the best quarterback of his generation that never won a Super Bowl, and then kind of expanded that to like all time. And like for me, I was thinking about, I was like, yeah, Rivers is up there. I mean, he was so good for so many years and just happened to be, the same prime as Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. And then at the end of his career, Patrick Mahomes.
Sure. So I love that topic because it's been kind of like on memes and like Instagram reels, which we need producer Kaylee to start helping out with. Like girls is like my POV. My wife's mad at me for hanging out with the boys, and it's like what we did is like made a starting lineup of baseball players whose names started with R. So I chewed on it. I even talked to my dad about it. Now, when you say all time, I'm going to start with just players who no longer play.
Yes.
But then I have one who's currently playing.
Okay.
Who might be a hot take.
I like that.
And it's probably not who you're thinking.
Okay.
So for me, just Dan Marino, that has to be number one.
Yeah, number one.
He's like, he doesn't, aside from him. So Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Going back to my ex a little bit, Aaron McNair. He was great. He was a inch short from sending a Super Bowl into overtime and then, potentially winning Super Bowl. So Steve McNair's high on my list, and keeping the same ilk would be Donovan McNabb.
Yep.
Donovan McNabb, his numbers aren't necessarily great, but the conference championships, division championships, like
I feel like he has a lot of Pro Bowls.
Yeah, like on paper, outside of like his stats weren't necessarily amazing, but he was a big one. I had Philip Rivers, and then Matt Ryan.
So that's what I was going to ask, if Matt Ryan was on your list.
Yeah, so my retired ones, and full disclosure, there's definitely people who are older.
Yeah.
But
so the one that you missed that like is on like a bunch of lists, but I wasn't alive when he played as Fran Tarkenton for the Vikings. I think he played in 3 Super Bowls, but lost all of them, and he was like the first like real dual threat quarterback. And as far as like numbers go, he's like right behind Marino.
Right. So that's kind of my list. And there was one person who me and my dad both brought up that I didn't just bring up now, but we're I guess you could be concerned about his image and what could have been, is Michael Vick.
Sure.
So like my 3 off the top of my head that like immediately: Steve McNair, Don McNabb, Michael Vick, Philip Rivers, and Matt Ryan. The thing about Philip Rivers and Matt Ryan is they are great statistical quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Matt Ryan should have won a Super Bowl, but your Patriots had something to say about it. Michael Vick. And, Philip Rivers and Matt Ryan are kind of in the same category as the current player that I'm thinking of. And then, when you're thinking Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair, Michael Vick, especially Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson right now.
Yep.
But that's not who I think is the best current quarterback without a Super Bowl.
Okay.
So I'll let you do your list, and I'll fill you in on who I think.
I think our lists track almost identically. Like, Marino is up there. Philip Rivers. Then you got Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair. You didn't mention Jim Kelly. So Jim Kelly, he had the most opportunities and didn't win, going to 4 straight. Again, Fran Tarkenton, that's not like a personal pick of mine. Never saw him play. And then I'm trying to, Matt, I guess maybe, I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of Falcons football, and I guess Matt Ryan was a very serviceable quarterback. I mean, they had an MVP year that the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I don't think he was anything special.
No, but he's a serviceable quarterback, which I think that matters a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he won one, but I think he was in the conversation up until the Rams beat the Bengals. But Matt Stafford, who was kind of just toiling away in Detroit, great numbers.
Did Carson Palmer win one?
No.
Carson Palmer's kind of a beast. At least I liked him.
Was he that good of a pro?
Well, he had a good team. You know, you had Ocho Cinco, Huzmanzada.
Yeah.
You had those guys.
Yeah, he was pretty good on the Raiders, too.
Yeah. Sure. Fair enough. But the guy that I think is the best of our generation currently playing without a Super Bowl is Dak Prescott.
That's okay. We got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, all of them don't have Super Bowls. And you're going to say Dak Prescott.
I am.
That's an insane take.
Dak Prescott, in terms of game managing and putting his team positions.
I guess when he's on the field, yeah. I mean, he's never on the field.
Completely unmatched. And he is handcuffed. He is unfortunately handcuffed by a poor owner and general manager.
Yes.
Poor in the sense of ball knowledge, not financials. And a revolving door of head coaches, which you could say those last two are mutually exclusive. They're exclusive. So I think Dak Prescott deserves it. What does he have? 2 playoff wins? 3, 4, maybe. A bunch of first round exits.
Many. Do they have that? The Cowboys have that many?
I bet he has 2 playoff wins. I'm calling 2. Let me know what he has. But I think Dak Prescott.
Donovan McNabb had 6 Pro Bowl appearances, and you are right. He is 2-5 in the playoffs. Dak Prescott.
He doesn't have anybody, man. No one's helping him. Like, you watch the game today, and his defense is terrible. They made Caleb Williams look like a Pro Bowl quarterback today. He throws balls right into George Pickens' hands, which brick off and cause an interception. Like,
CD went down.
So I'll transition real quick. Fantasy, right? I was in shambles. Today was a bad day. So you don't understand the emotional roller coaster of me waiting until 1 o'clock kickoff, and I'm playing producer Colin, more on him later, and he has a wide receiver starting who's on the IR, and like just sweating bullets for the first kickoff. So like he's locked in. He doesn't change it. So he doesn't change them. And ironically enough, like my team's playing so poorly that he still had a 50% chance of winning with a wide receiver out.
It was on the active roster.
Yes. Bad week to have the Bengals defense starting for me.
Colin's too busy going to KU games.
He's a big Jayhawk now. So anyway, the last he has 3 players left going into the 4 o'clock game. He has the Detroit Lions backup running back, which I have the starter, Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit's kicker, and CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
I famously, before this league, I was in a money league, and there was like $700 on the line, and I famously lost the championship game because CD went off for like 48 points. I'm sure a lot of people experienced
in week
that.
17.
Yeah, it was nuts. And so anyway, he has CD, and the only people I have left is Gibbs and George Pickens. And me and Dad are watching the game. He's a Cowboys fan, and I was like, I hope CD has something mildly mild enough happened to him where his head's not in the game. I didn't know that was gonna be a high ankle sprain first first reception. So he loses CD. George has a good game. So I think I'm gonna win. But it was an emotional roller coaster, and I wasn't prepared for the emotional damage I would undergo if I went from losing week 2 by a walk-off field goal and losing by 0.3 points, and then losing to a kid who's one of their starting wide receivers wasn't even playing. That was going to hurt. But anyway, we survived it. But yeah, Dak Prescott, I feel bad for the Cowboys. And you know something about my dad's always been a Cowboys fan, and I remember as a kid, I never was really super locked in the NFL. We've talked about that, but there when I started kind of getting interested, I decided to be a Redskins fan just to spite him, which was not really fair to him. And now as a father, that would absolutely break my heart. So he handled it way better than I would have. But today was one of the first times me and him actively sat down and we were both watching a Cowboys game, and it's kind of cool. Sad. But it's kind of sad though too. It's
you missed out on.
Well, you can say that, but it's just kind of sad, him being a Cowboys fan.
Just in the state of the Cowboys.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve that, and I think Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. Because here's the thing, I'll ask you, Dan.
But I think he is a good quarterback. But you're saying that he is one of the best quarterbacks not to win a Super Bowl, and he's not even one of the top 4 best active quarterbacks. That's insane.
So that's what I was going to say to you.
Okay.
The Cowboys and Dak Prescott get a lot of hate because they're typically the lead ticker for First Take, Get Up, all of Sports Center. Can you legitimately name me 5 franchises who wouldn't take Dak Prescott as their starting quarterback? Seriously.
Yeah, sure. Bills, Ravens, KC, Tampa Bay. And then the 5th one.
My point exactly.
No, I got this.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I don't think.
There we go.
No, sorry. Packers. Julian Love. They're not taking Dak.
Jordan Love.
What did I say? Julian Love. That was a Notre Dame cornerback.
Yeah, so I'm not taking the Packers one. That's not. They just lost. They just lost by 3 or 4 points.
Cincinnati. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow can't play a game without.
Neither can Dak Prescott.
False. So, my point exactly, Dan.
Of Cincinnati.
Of the 4 you just listed that I'll take, Baker Mayfield. Talk about my new hot.
Your girlfriend, man. What a win.
She's smoking. You touch her and it's hot. 3 games in a row. Now, you could argue, hey, you had a 17-point lead going into the 4th quarter against the Jets. That shouldn't be a ball game. But guess what? It was. And it was the 3rd week in a row that Baker had to bake with less than 2 minutes. And it seems effortless for him with 2 minutes left in the game.
There's no style points in the NFL like in college. It's just wins, baby.
Yeah, 3-0. Now, and even though my new girlfriend is super hot down there in Tampa, gosh, she's hot. But if I'm being honest, Josh Allen, Travis, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson are the only 3 that are hard sells for me.
Okay.
So, and of those 3, one of them has a Super Bowl. So, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson.
But what about Hurts? Do you think the Eagles?
Eagles can't stand Hurts, man. They can't stand him. He ain't a good quarterback. He had 29 points today in fantasy, but he ain't a good quarterback. The tush push, take the tush push away. That's a whole other show we got to do. But no, I think Dak. I'd build a franchise right now around Dak Prescott.
I think a lot. Yeah, there's 32 teams. Yeah, all but like 28 of them would absolutely build Dak Prescott. And
that's
speaking
what
of your father, lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan, he's contributing here, and he was thinking a lot about the topic of best quarterback to not win a Super Bowl, and he brought up a name that neither of us mentioned, and that's Warren Moon. I think it's a good pick too.
Sure. He has stats that rivals.
He's got numbers. He's Hall of Fame. Yeah.
That's a good one. Good call. Good call. You know, I don't want to, and again, I can't see the topic ticker, but while we're talking football, can I just pose a question?
Absolutely.
What is the obsession in the country with ESPN, or not ESPN now, but NFL Red Zone? Because that's $15 a month if I want NFL Red Zone, right?
Sure.
But included with my TV package is NFL Game Day Live on NFL Network. And I'm going out on a limb saying that's a superior product.
I'm not familiar with NFL Game Day Live.
So it's on NFL Network. They literally just continuously cycle through each game that's live.
Are there commercials?
There might have been, but nothing that I noticed.
I think Red Zone is like commercial free.
It has commercials now that got bought by ESPN.
Okay.
Commercials or not, NFL Game Day Live on an NFL Network, it just continuously tickers through the games, showing the most recent highlights, and then it'll go to a box score showing all the scores, and then the box score stats, and then among all of these skill players, how many fantasy points they've earned thus far.
That's pretty cool.
I really liked it.
I'm surprised. I bet ESPN with their like ESPN like fantasy app, they'll do something like that.
Well, I think it's Red Zone. They acquired Red Zone.
They will, but they'll retool it. And we got more from the Mad Hatter. This is a good comment in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Chris Lewis. Cowboys will win 2 more Super Bowls in my lifetime. I'm playing the long game with Braxton. As soon as he breaks up with the Bucks, I will hand him a hat with a star on it. That's very sweet.
So me and my pirate mistress are hot and heavy right now, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. Not ruling out if I find myself employed or working in the Texas or Dallas-Fort Worth area that there might be, the wandering eye might creep up a little bit, and we could talk about it. But I'm good right where I'm at right now. And I told Dad, I said it's part of the long game, like. And again, I'm not trying to go on the same rant, but if you looked at what happened today, the Titans got dismantled by the Colts. Brian Callahan's getting booed out the tunnel at halftime and at the end of the game. You have every commentator calling for not just Brian Callahan, the whole staff to get fired. Clay Travis is calling for the whole staff to get fired. It's a train wreck. They were trying to kick a field goal before halftime. The Colts call a timeout. They go back out there. The Titans call a timeout. 2 timeouts in a row. The Titans march out there to kick a field goal for half. And they get a delay of game. Turn the ball over. The Colts end up getting a field goal for halftime. And you know what started that 2-minute drill they were running? Was 3 straight runs. It's sad. And just so you know, you're a Patriots fan now. One of
5 turnovers today. That was tough to watch.
One of the biggest complaints about Mike Vrabel by these Titans fans was he was too conservative, too like old school ground and pound. Even though you had Derrick freaking Henry, they were complaining about it, right?
Yeah, it's like you give the ball to your best player.
So that was the biggest complaint, and now people are saying online that Callahan is the most conservative coach in all echelons of football. Like, couldn't coach Pop Warner. He's too scared to throw the ball. And I hate to say this, but if you look at Brian Callahan, he looks like the guy who walks to a place who he knows more than you. And that's how he was in every press conference. And I'm not judging by his looks, because he's a good-looking dude. I was super happy about the hire. But he's just he's got this snideness about him in the press conferences. He blamed everything on Will Levis last year. And now he's going and getting booed, and he ain't got nothing to say. He put this on himself. Now he has volunteer fans. Dan, I need you to do some on-spot reporting because I saw a picture put out on Twitter where in Nissan Stadium right now, they have a picture of Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry in the stadium.
I'll do some recon. That's crazy.
Three people they ran out of there. From
You gotta take that down.
What are we doing, dude? What are we doing?
Bad. That's
But
bad.
it's not what we're doing anymore because I've moved on. I've broken up. I've won the breakup. And that's the best part about breakups is winning the breakup. So I've won the breakup pretty clear as we start 3-0 down in Tampa Bay.
First time they've been 3-0 since like not even Brady was ever 3-0. I want to say the first time 3-0 since like 2015.
It's been a while, but we are.
So
and
we've been
changing my fantasy. I'm changing my fantasy name to Bake for 2 minutes.
I like that.
You like
good.
that?
That's good.
Bake for 2 minutes.
Easy bake oven.
Yeah.
So we've been bebopping around a bit with the college football NFL fantasy update. This is actually very damning of me in managing my fantasy team. He's not on the active roster, but he's taken up a roster spot that I realized about 3 hours ago that Amari Cooper's retired and he's on my team. It's like, but it hasn't affected me. I had that week 1 bye. I destroyed Trooper Mac last week, and I think I have like a 77% chance to beat Kaylee this week after a monster.
Cam Scatterbo just scored.
Uh-oh.
And I think you might want to check that because I think Kaylee's making a run at Would You Rather.
Okay.
Because I just watched
what's his name? Travis Hunter. Oh, not Travis Hunter. Hunter Henry is what I meant.
He went off today.
Yeah, that was a great managerial move. No, I still have a 73% chance.
Yeah, I watch out for Kaylee. She's over here. Can I tell you something that made me feel – I've never felt like more of a man and less of a man in my life.
Okay.
And you probably can't relate to this because you don't have the means. So we're watching the game, and George Pickens scores a touchdown.
How many times was George Pickens said in the Lewis household this Sunday?
George Pickens is about to get banned. Right? Kaylee's over. So George Pickens scores a touchdown. Great touchdown, one-handed catch. I stand up from the couch, and I give a fist pump. And I say, like, let's go, George. And my 2-year-old looks at me, and she says, good job, Daddy. And I never felt so high so low simultaneously because I felt high because in the sweet, innocent voice of my sweet angel 2-year-old, she said, good job, Daddy. It made me feel warm. But she said good job because me getting excited over a dude scoring a touchdown for my fantasy team, and that hurt. In hindsight, that hurt a little bit of what are we doing here?
Yeah. So I feel like we haven't exhausted NFL. There's a lot to talk about, but anything particular from college week 4 that you wanted to discuss?
No, it was great. You know, Gigi knows ball. My girl's rock. She decides not to go to the hospital until midnight going into Tuesday. So right after Monday Night Football, she got to watch the Bucs win in Kaylee's belly. So she lets Kentucky play, she lets Alabama play, she lets the Bucs play, and she says, let's go to the hospital the same week as the UK-Alabama bye week. So she knows ball. Anyway, didn't have any stress of obviously our teams playing and Kentucky losing. I love Dan. I can't. So let me tell you. Let me walk you through my last 2 Saturdays.
Yeah.
I love waking up, making some breakfast, going and getting some breakfast for the family. Vibes are high, music's playing, turning on game day. Things are great. You know what I love even more than game day? I love game day quickly transitioning on ESPN from Pat McAfee's wrestling promo to the Clemson game and getting to watch Clemson lose on the same channel that I just watched College Game Day and watching so Dabo imploded.
Yeah, actually, can I pause you for a second? Can you stand up? Are you wearing khakis?
I'm not wearing khakis. I said I would. I
Yep.
forgot.
Forgot.
We haven't talked about it because it happened, this week. Leading up to the game against Syracuse, he had the most pompous press conferences talking about y'all have short memory. I have long memory. We've won what?
Get rid of me if you don't want to keep winning.
Just tooting his own horn. Right. And this man goes out there and gets just pieced up by Syracuse. You don't understand. I think I was live texting you. I don't think you were watching the game, so you weren't really grasping it.
Oh, it's a golf lesson.
Syracuse receives the ball, march down now. Unfortunately, Syracuse quarterback is out for the season, Achilles tear. Syracuse marches down the field, scores a touchdown. Onside kick recover. Field goal, 10 points. They owned the game. They won by, 20 points or so. It was never really close. They had a long delay. Coming out of the delay, the lightning delay, Syracuse is pumped up, amped up. Clemson looks like they just left, church service. Not good vibes. Clemson is 1-3. Kentucky's not 1-3. So Clemson's down. And I saw someone tweet saying that Dabo's reached his John Calipari era, where like John Calipari towards the end at UK was like, well, this is how I always done it. It is what it is, even though we were losing. Same thing with Dabo. And I believe in his head he's not going anywhere. But if he continues to put these results on the field and compounds that with a lack of interest in NIL and the transfer portal, I believe he's going to force the president and AD's hand a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's got like a pretty long leash based on the success that they had for that like 4 or 5 year like run. But this is shocking. Like we've talked about this ad nauseum on prior episodes, but they come out with Cade Klubnik, like Heisman favorite, potential #1 overall draft pick. They returned an insane amount of players on the defense. I had them going to the college football championship.
So that game stood out for me. Oklahoma, Auburn stood out for me. Oklahoma's 7-point win, and the SEC had to come out and apologize because Oklahoma scored a touchdown that should not have been a touchdown due to a rule violation with the faking of the subbing out of the player. Mm-hmm. So Auburn fans are up in arms about that. I think both of the teams are pretty mid. I believe saying Oklahoma is the 7th best team in the country is a far cry. It's not your daddy's 7th best team in the country, if you know what I'm saying. Kind of same with Auburn. So that was that. And then Florida-Miami. You said Florida got blown out. But I think if you watch the full game, I guess at least my takeaway was in the fourth quarter, it was 13-6, and Florida had the ball in the fourth quarter. And it rained the whole game, but I think it was just another unfortunate thing for Billy Napier is his – and now let it be on the record, Billy Napier's came out and said, I'm not relinquishing play calling. He calls the plays. They just could not move the ball with, again, Heisman / All-American.
Miami's defense football. I mean, their defense is good.
Their defense is crazy. They couldn't do anything. They ended up getting the score at the end. I mean, the score honestly did kind of reflect like who controlled the game, but there was an opportunity for Florida. Billy Napier is not going to – he'll get fired in the season.
Yep.
Sam Pittman, he lets Memphis come back at Arkansas. Right, is at Memphis, but Sam Pittman lets Memphis come back and beat them by a point. That's really all for college football for me. I went to bed watching Michigan State USC, which every time I watch USC, I get nostalgic about thinking of Reggie Bush in like 2005, but it's not 05 anymore. And I just watch these games, and I can't comprehend what kid is like, hey, I want to go to USC in Southern Cal and then go play a Big Ten schedule. It just seems weird.
Right.
It just seems weird to me.
No, we talked about the conference realignment. Geographic rivalries. Like it's in like USC, Oregon are playing a Big Ten. Like USC is playing at Illinois next week. And they were looking good early, but Signetti, that was unexpected. That was crazy.
It was.
But yeah, like USC is going to Urbana-Champaign. Like that's like what are we doing?
West Lafayette.
Yeah. Yeah, thankfully the Irish they finally got they got in the win column.
Oh,
Had a dominating performance against the Boilermakers.
I got a fun fact for you. The Mad Hatter told me today. I didn't know.
Hmm.
He said his initial favorite college football team was Notre Dame as a child.
Naturally.
Yeah, so that was a fun fact of the day.
Go Irish.
I've been liking all their Instagram posts. I'm on their algorithm.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman's awesome. I
I, one, I,
I still think, and I'm curious what you think. They have, yes, 2 losses. They were still 24th ranked, 0-2 based on the eye test. I think there's still an outside chance that they get the 12 seed, 12 or
I
11
don't think.
seed.
I think it's obnoxious how high I am on Notre Dame. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is about them. I need Notre Dame gear for Christmas. Like I want someone to buy me a Notre Dame shirt or hat or hoodie.
It's someone.
I almost like I want my daughters to go to Notre Dame. It's a prestigious school, like a 6% acceptance rate, Catholic school.
Yeah,
They'll have their priorities straight, academics and Jesus and football.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, every box is just getting checked right there. So I'm high on Notre Dame. What I'm scared of, and it's kind of happening to Brian Kelly. I think Marcus Freeman's a really good coach. He's a young coach who demands a lot of respect in his locker room, and he's a defensive guy.
Yep.
But if he surrounds himself with good offensive assistants, can really have something wrong.
This is kind of crazy. Like it's the offense. Like they're scoring a ton. The defense is not good.
But my concern is they're going to do the same thing to Brian Kelly, and Marcus Freeman's going to be consistent 9-3, 10-2, sprinkling 11-1. First round, second round, college football playoff exit, or Sugar Bowl, or a Citrus Bowl win, not in the playoff, and they let him go. Like, I don't know if it's just me and my, I'm a Kentucky fan, so I don't get to experience greatness. But there's a difference between Dabo Swinney going 8-4, 9-3, and Marcus Freeman. And what I say by that is one is young and shows potential and promise,
Sure.
and one is set in their ways and it's not changing. So I just hope I love Marcus. I love Marcus Freeman. Dude's a stud. I think he could go out there and play right now.
Yeah.
So and they got a freshman quarterback, man. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Let this kid develop another year or two.
And that's what's exciting. Like Marcus finally has like his recruited like homegrown quarterback. Like he hasn't had this. Like it's been who was it? It was Sam Hart. Well, who's his first year? So Sam Hartman, Riley Leonard. I'm blanking. We had another like transfer quarterback that I can't think of.
But he got them from the portal, so they were kind of his. But no, it wasn't a freshman that he was able to let red shirt and then start. Carson Beck's gonna win the Heisman. I hope you're ready for that. By the way.
Oh, God.
And
you're right.
It's even worse for me. My dad talked about it today. Like Shannon Dawson goes from we let Shannon Dawson walk at Kentucky. He's a run first OC, which is what Mark Stoops likes. He runs a run first offense, and he's about to have back-to-back quarterbacks win the Heisman, and we let him walk. So you love that. Just another stinger right there for Wildcat fans. It's a hard existence, man.
It's hard.
And that's why, like, I got my girls wearing Kentucky gear and saying "Go Cats," but I don't grimace as much as I thought I would when Kaylee has them saying "Roll Tide," because they don't deserve the heartbreak that I go through. And I tell them, like, the only good thing about being a Kentucky fan for them is a boy will never break their heart as bad as Kentucky football will. So they'll be hardened and prepared for those moments in life. Like, no girl's ever broken my heart as bad as Kentucky sports has. So it is what it is. So if they want to go to Alabama, I wouldn't be mad with them going to Notre Dame. I've already started my short list, already saved up. And
I was going to say, Braxton, if you want something Notre Dame, you better get an ROTC job there.
And I don't when you like. It's on the record. Uncle Dan's gonna get a text saying like, "Hey, Elliot's joining this sorority. Her dues are this much. She asked if Uncle Dan would help out with combined birthday and Christmas this year."
Yeah. Well, there's no Greek life at Notre Dame, so that's good.
It would be good, but gosh, 3 girls. That's good. That's good.
That's good. That's good. Well, Braxton, this was a great episode. Once again, we're coming up on the hour 15 mark. Any closing thoughts?
I have so many, man. I can stay up all night talking to you. Football's back.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky and Carolina are playing next week.
Yeah, that was actually a question. So it's good. Getting to the chat. Miss Amy Lewis asked me specifically, who am I rooting for next week with UK at Columbia? And Miss Amy Lewis, the question, it's obvious. Go Cats.
Go Cats. Now that would have really hurt. That would have been a heel turn after I just hyped up Notre Dame for the last 10 minutes. You just said.
No, it's funny because I was talking all about Lenore Sellers earlier in the season and how much I enjoy Columbia, but I'm living in Middle Tennessee right now. Go Cats.
Now, well, before we close, Dad has been pondering going to the game with some work buddies, and he's super concerned about it because he's scared he's going to show himself and Kentucky just getting – because the last time we went to a game in Columbia, or at least the last game I went to, they may have went to one when I was in college. I think I was in the field. I don't think they ended up going. We had just beat LSU. So this is 2007. So we were ranked 12th-ish, top 10 maybe, between 8 and 12. And Carolina was either unranked or ranked in the 20s. And we went to that game, and we got rocked. So that left a sour taste. And I told him, if he decides not to go, just come to my house, and we will, I told him we're doing hot and ready Little Caesars. And then, of course, the Arches. We'll get Arches cookies. Their cookies are unmatched. Yeah,
they're good. Really good. Actually, I love Arches Sundae. You get the sundae with a cookie on the side.
Can't beat it. And it was funny. We were talking about that. And Kaylee's like, what time is Georgia-Alabama playing on Saturday? And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're the 3:30 game. And then I looked, and they're 7:30. They're 7:30 Eastern ABC, so they're head-to-head with Kentucky, South Carolina. And objectively, Alabama-Georgia is a much better game. But
you got Alabama-Georgia on ABC, Kentucky, South Carolina, SEC Network.
So I told Kaylee we're not doing multi-view, but I would bring the other TV out to the living room, and she could watch it on the small TV. But it is what it is. That's our love language.
Obviously, you got the newborn, so no chance you could meet up with the Mad Hatter in Columbia and get a Woody Lou Sports New live report at USC, because that would be
say this.
Fantastic.
I don't want to speak for my wife. I would never speak for my wife.
Nope.
If it was just me and the Mad Hatter, I'm positive my mom would help Kaylee with the girls. And if I'm being honest, outside of Kaylee having to feed Gigi, the newborn,
sure,
it's really nothing's changed. She's just she's obviously tired and she can't lift and stuff, but it's really not that crazy. Kaylee would honestly probably let me, but there's a 90, and I would love to go with him to that game because I'm on paternity leave. 99% chance we get in a fight, and there's 100% chance me and him are way too drunk on bourbon in some schwanky hotel room. Just mad.
Well, I'll promise you this: there are no schwanky hotel rooms in Columbia, South Carolina, so you're safe there.
Well, in Columbia, I've been in some places in Columbia, but no, I mean, I would love that. If I went to the game, I would. Here's the thing about me and my dad, Dan, is me and him could go watch us play at Sanford Stadium or Bryant-Denny, and before we scan our ticket on our phone, we're convinced ourselves that we're about to win. And the first time the other team scores, it's gonna be like a shock to the system. Like, what just happened? Like this team, they're ranked 6th and undefeated, and we're just like shocked that they scored on us.
He's saying legal counsel would be needed.
Yeah, no, it would cost me a lot more than that ticket would.
I am going TDY to North Carolina this week. Maybe I could swing down.
Do it. It's just a shot down on 85, dude.
Yeah.
You're always welcome in my casa.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Well, on that note, Braxton, I think we should close out. Again, any final thoughts?
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Well, thank you to everyone in the chat as always. Share. We're definitely trying to grow our following. So like, subscribe, download, share. Woody Lew, Sports and You. All the socials are listed on the screen. But no, thank you all.